Dr. Kumar, all the panelists have joined. We can start with.
Yeah, so let us proceed.
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself,
Mr.
Amresh.
Fresh, your mic is muted.
No, my mic
No.
is on. I'm not visible, not audible.
Audible.
Audible, भैया.
Yeah. Mahesh sir, can you put up the slide? Good afternoon, everyone. Today, I welcome you all to the second day of this 9th international conference, which is there to be discussed with respect to universal human values in higher education. Yesterday, the discussion was pertaining to the need-based, and today we are looking at the vision part. And the theme of the conference is value-based education for higher education, including SDGs. I take the privilege of introducing the YouTube Point presenter for the day, Dr. Mahesh Gore, an assistant professor in civil engineering from Pune Vidyarthi Graha, College of Engineering and Technology, Pune. And he is volunteering in the UH activities for the past 3 years. I request Mahesh Gore to take over the session.
Thank you, Mr. Amresh. Today, we are on this day 2. Yesterday, we have already talked about need for holistic value-based education. So today, we will be looking after now vision for holistic value-based education. Now, let's take a recap that we have discussed yesterday about the need for holistic value-based education. In the recap, we have seen that, yes, there is a priority of values over the skills in the education. And if you look at the present approach, that is more focused on the skill education, but we need to have more solution-centric approach that we need to work on holistic value-based skill education, which will ensure the right understanding in every child, the capacity to live in relationship with every other human being, the capacity to identify need of physical facility. And once we identify the needs, we can see that the skills and practice for sustainable development for more than what is required about the right utilization of the physical facility, and that leads to the feeling of prosperity. What are the basic guidelines that we discussed? Those are value education should be universal, rational, verifiable, and it leads to the harmony. This we have already seen yesterday in need of value-based education. Now, when we understand there is a need, we must look after what is the vision that is required for value-based education. Now, when we see the vision, we need to see the vision at individual level, at every personal level. And what we can see at the bottom level, that is, the most of our living is looking at the physical facility level. We are more focusing on physical facility, so our education is also more or less skill-based. But somewhere we are missing with the relationship and the right understanding. And that is really needed for us because that is missing somewhere in the education also. Now, when we say for that, what we need to have the consciousness development of human being. And for that conscious development of human being, we must understand the human being. And today's keynote session, we have understood that human being is a coexistence of self and body. When we say conscious unit of the human being, we need to work on the holistic development. It's not only the bodily development or physical facility development. We need to have the holistic development, which is basically transformation to the human consciousness. Now we can see here at the bottom, we are talking about inhuman consciousness because more or less the concentration or activities are done only for physical facility. Somewhere we are looking at the physical facility kind of a animal consciousness, but we are saying inhuman consciousness, and we need this transformation on the top side, that is human consciousness, where we will look for all three things which are missing here: right understanding and relationship, that is also included there. Now when we say this holistic development, is a transformation of human consciousness, we need to think how it would happen. And for that, we need to ensure the right understanding in every child. If child or the student can understand rightly, he will decide very rightly, and the feelings will be also developed very right way. And in that way, he will have the capacity to live in relationship with the other human beings. So as he is somewhere not able to understand rightly, he could not see that the relationship is important, and that will get developed with the right understanding. Along with that, he will also develop the capacity to identify the need of physical facility. Once we understand that physical facility, how much is needed, we could practice or we could develop the skills for sustainable production for more than what is required. And that will lead to the feeling of prosperity. Right now, we are talking about prosperity is only just accumulation of too much money, too much physical facility that we saw in the morning keynote session also. Now, if we look at this, if we transform from this, I can say, inhuman consciousness to human consciousness, we see that this transformation and the progress where the priority will be given to the right understanding in every self. If that right understanding will be get developed, he could look after the relationship with the other human beings also. And if the right understanding is developed, the physical facility with the rest of the nature can be also seen. So what would happen? Right understanding and relationship will give or develop mutual happiness. The person will be happy, and the other persons with whom he can see the relationship, those will be also happy. At the same time, if we can see the right understanding, that is, with the physical facility available from the nature, the person will be feel prosperous. Yes, but with this right understanding, he will make prosperous nature also. So there will be a mutual prosperity. So we can see that priority also, the right understanding will be prior at the number 1, the relationship will be at number 2, and physical facility at number 3, and that will lead to mutual happiness and mutual prosperity. With this transformation, we need to have the vision at individual level that we can see it here. Now, when we say it is at societal level, we can see that once the right understanding will be get developed in himself, he would understand the harmony in human being, and that leads to the other levels of his living. That is, he could understand that rightly with the self as well as family, society, and nature or existence. Now, once he developed the right understanding, definitely he could justice in relationship with every human being, and that could lead to from family to the world family, because we are not saying only one relative, we are saying every human being. When we can see that relationship, we can develop the I can say understanding from family to world family. At the same time, when we see that this child has developed the right understanding through education with this vision, he could participate in the larger order, where the larger order, we are saying the nature. It's not only the family or society, the larger order with the society. No, it's larger order with the nature. So he could see that family order will lead to the world family order. And with this development of right understanding, justice and relationship, and participation of the larger order will, I can say, give us feeling or to give in society. This is what is the outcome of human consciousness. Now we have seen that vision at individual level as well as the societal level, which will lead to the humane society. Now, this human education is really needed that will develop the human consciousness. With those human values, the person will have human conduct, and that human conduct will lead to the humane society. Now, when we say this is not there, somewhere it is missing on the left hand side, we are saying that we are in the society, but somewhere we are looking after the more and more, as I can say, with the assumption that money is everything. With this understanding, the child learns, and he will basically look after the basically accumulation of more and more. And for that he exploit also, and he tried to be the master. But this is somewhere lacking the holistic education. We need this vision. And if we, I can say, give the education with this vision, the transformation or the development that leads to the human consciousness, where you could see that the humane society will have, every person will have right understanding and right feeling with every individual, that start with the happiness that leads to the health of every individual. A person can feel prosperous, and that feeling, that is not only with the person, but in every family will be prosperous. And somewhere when we are with human consciousness, that will develop to the fearlessness, that is trust and justice in the society. And this leads to understanding of coexistence, that is mutual enrichment, that is with the nature. We will also enrich as well as the nature will also enrich. And this will lead to the family-based society, means what, families, nations, whole world making effort for human goal. This human goal that will be a family-based society will definitely leads to the overall transformation. And this overall transformation is possible only by personal transformation and the societal transformation. This is very much needed when we say we need to, we have understood there is a need of value-based education, and in vision we have to look after this. So any graduate comes to, I can say, our institution or the university, what are the common graduate attributes that we are expecting when we give learning to the student, the graduate? So we can see it here. There are 6 attributes, and those are the holistic vision of the life. He will look after or understand the broader purpose and the goals of the human life. He will see there is a social responsibility where he will act in a way that will fulfill the relationship and benefit to the society also. He will understand the responsibility towards the nature or the environment, and he will engage appropriately where he will preserve the nature and fulfill the need of physical facilities also. He will also get developed, the, I can say, ethical hygiene awareness and maintaining well-being with the cleanliness. Lastly, the student will develop with the graduate attributes the respect for excellence, gratitude, where he will recognize the values of merit and importance of gratitude. With this, I would like to sum up the vision for value-based education, where at individual level, we need to transform to the human consciousness. At societal level, transformation at societal level will be of human society. The human education will leads to the personal transformation and societal transformation. So these common graduate attributes, that 6 attributes will be get developed in the students, and students will help for the human society. With this, I can say, request today's panel discussion moderator, Dr. Sunil Kumar N, who is professor and head of the department of, I can say, Civil Engineering Division in Cochin University College of Engineering, Kuttanad, that is in Kerala, India. He has done PhD in Civil Engineering from IISc Bangalore, and he has been volunteering for universal human values activities from last 4 years. Welcome, Dr. Sunil Kumar. Over to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Mahesh Kore, for that nice opening up of the session with proposing the vision of the holistic value-based education. So as Mr. Mahesh Kore said, we have discussed about the need part yesterday, and today we are discussing about the vision part. So we will go to the introduction of the panelists. Mahesh Kore, we can go to the next slide. Can we move on to the next slide, Mr. Mahesh Kore? I think there is some network issue with Mahesh Kore. Let me see if I can share the slides from my end in that case. Yeah, take over. Yeah. Is my slide visible now?
Yes.
जी भैया.
Okay. Okay. So we have our first panelist, Professor Naim Kumar Jain. He is Chairman, Institute of Humanism, All India Association of History and Science. He is the President of All India Intellectual Forum, Delhi University. He is in the Mathematics Teacher Association, India. He authored books and he published several research papers. He is a contributor to Kothari Education Committee 1965 and revision of Indian Constitution. Welcome, Professor Naim Kumar Jain, to this
Thank you, sir.
panel discussion. We move on to the next. Yeah. So I welcome Dr. R.J. Rao to this panel discussion. He is a former Vice Chancellor, Bakatullah University, Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh, India. He is also the former Director, Indira Gandhi Academy of Environment. He is a PhD from Bhopal University, MSc in Advanced Research Training, Eco-Hydrology, Europe, Conservation, GIS, USA, UNEP, and UNESCO fellowships are there with him. A lot of awards and published research papers are there with him. He has been recognized, has this recognition by Encyclopedia Britannica also. So, Dr. R.J. Rao, welcome to this panel discussion. I'm glad to welcome Mr. Shewang Tandin, who is the president of Royal Thimphu College, Bhutan. He is a PGC and MEd administration from and MSc Zoology. He is also the former Director General of Department of Adult and Higher Education, Ministry of Education. And he is a mindfulness trainer. He has a lot of awards to his credit. He has recognition from CMO Asia and Royal Civil Service Commission, Bhutan. Welcome, Mr. Shewang Tandin, to this panel discussion. I do welcome Dr. Vikas K. Jambulkar, who is an Associate Professor of Department of Political Science. Rashtratant Thukadoji Maharaj, RTM, I am sorry if I pronounce it wrongly, Nagpur University, India. He has Fellowship of American Political Development, US Cultural and Educational Department. He is a speaker of engagements, nodal officer, international affairs and collaboration, and international students advisor in the university. Welcome, Dr. Vikas K. Jambulkar, to this meeting, to this panel discussion. We also have with us Professor Satyanarayan Reddy, who is a Vice Chancellor of Srinivas University, Karnataka, India. He has patents, published research papers with him, authored books also. He has experience in CSE, design thinking for innovation. Welcome, Professor Satyanarayan Reddy, to this panel discussion. I think Dr. Nagajudi could not join the meeting. So I welcome Dr. Pushpinder Walia, who is a principal of BBK Dav College of Women, BBK Dav College for Women, Amritsar, India, with a PhD, MPhil and MA, a lot of awards and published many papers and presented research nationally as well as internationally. Welcome, Dr. Pushpinder Walia, to this panel discussion. I also welcome Dr. Kumar Sambhav, who is an associate professor and acting director of the UP Institute of Design, Noida, India, who is a PhD and MTech in mechanical engineering, IIT Kanpur, who did his PhD and MTech in mechanical engineering, IIT Kanpur, and who is a volunteer of University of Human Values for the past 23 years. Yeah. So, we will start the panel discussion with this question, though. The vision report has been put forward by Mr. Mahesh Kore. Am I audible and am I visible in the video? I think I have some network issue over here also.
Clear,
Ji
bhaiya.
Bhaiya, perfectly audible and
Okay.
visible also.
Yeah. So we'll start this discussion. I mean, roughly we can have less than 1 hour time for discussion. 3 minutes for each panelist in the initial round, and later we will take quick reflection from you. So after that, we will give this time for the delegates. They may ask questions, and so we can share the questions to the panelists also. They can respond to the questions. So I start the discussion with Professor Nem Kumar Jain. So we say this education has to focus upon consciousness development of mankind. And the priority has to be first for developing right understanding, followed by the feelings in relationship, and then the physical facility. You can kindly share your views upon this.
So, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
We have been through the second day of the international conference. This is how human values we look at it differently in a different manner. Compare human value is a branch of knowledge which establish reasonable relationship between human senses and nature. These are causes for materialism and spirituality. Human values are perseverance, forgiveness, self-control, or absence of theft, purity, control of senses, knowledge, learning, and absence of vigor, and last and the most important is the truth. There are three, the oldest available literature on human value is the Manu Smriti, which says a shloka, Dharam Chati Damoste Socha Nindra Nigraha Dhir Vidya Satyam Krodho Dasam Dharm Lakshan. Whether we call it dharma, or we call it Hindutva, or we call it human values, or we call it science, these are approximately equivalent terms. Human values are outcomes of culture, civilization, and the earliest and the most prominent of which is Hindutva, now internationally accepted as the oldest civilization, and out of the civilization, the culture comes on. Earlier, we used to say the Indian civilization or Sindhu civilization is one of the oldest, but now, from 10 to 20 years back, internationally now it is accepted that the Indian civilization, that is the Hindu civilization, is the oldest. UNO is a recent phenomena after the World War II effects. So the international organization has to come with already the progress which is there already. So UNESCO has carved 16 SDG goals, out of which Sustainable Development Goals we call it. Our Brahmand is undergoing a high development, and the age of the universe so far is 1 Arab 96 crore 8,53,083 years old. So it's a development process is going on from zero level to the present one, and it has to go to a very high level towards the Satya Yuga. And in the Satya Yuga, the India was Vishwaguru, and we are heading fast towards our Guru, to be the Vishwaguru. Hardly 75 years after 1,000 years of the Muslim and English, we have progressed, and the progress is quite well. And we are certain the way we are working, our intellectuals are working, the social reformers are working. We are very sure that we are going to be in the near future the world leader of the world. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Nem Kumar Jain, for that sharing. So we have mentioned regarding the Manusmriti and connected the the sustainable development goals with that. And as you said, we have a long way to go. Very true. So we will take the sharing from other panelists also, and I will come back to you. Nice, thank you. So let me ask the same question to Dr. R.J. Rao. That so we have been telling that this education has to focus upon consciousness development of mankind, and the priority has to be upon right understanding, then right feelings in the relationship, and then physical facility. What is your take on this, Dr. R.J. Rao?
Yes, thank you. Really, it is true. I'm very much thankful for participating in this international human values conference, and particularly when you are thinking about the series self-development goals. I hope I am sure also, like many of the students, they even today they doesn't know what is exactly the goals which were set up and where they should go further and what type of education. This is totally classroom teaching and at the syllabus, whatever it is given to them, and they are totally restricted for this, and is not having much idea what is exactly this education looks like. Because of this, holistic education is really very important, particularly looking into the education, bring our fragmented world together and help us to develop a coherent vision toward a better world. This is, in fact, everybody was talking in a large scale, but on the students definitely studying in this, they doesn't have much idea about it. So that is what usually we have to, we started in our university, like induction program initially when the students are coming, all the students, they should join for a meeting, and where we are talking about this holistic education. It's not only the classroom teaching, but all the things connects to the their contribution after completion of these studies. How to we think about the world, communities, societies, and individuals. So this way, what we can call it as a holistic education is a wholeness of the human being. So that usually people, the students should also understand. And the vision of holistic education is really very fantastic. It's based on the ecological awareness, spirituality, relationships, and values. So these things will also be to be inculcated to the students while they're spending their good time in the more than 3 to 5 years in the institution. The institution somewhere, some place, so we have to teach all these things because of this important fundamental, what is the fundamental principles of a holistic education is definitely the balance, inclusions, and the connectedness. These are the things we have to think, and particularly when you are talking about the holistic education is a comprehensive, holistic, ambitious, aspirations, and universal, and is inspired by an idea of education that transforms the lives of individuals, communities, and societies. Everybody was thinking about their individual development and all those things, but once they come out, they were not having much idea what exactly their contribution to the society and communities in this thing. So this way, what we are always thinking about, change the people's relationships is also very important, because that nature to address global problems such as climate change, racism, sexism, and hatred. So all these things have to be somehow, because of this education policy and all those things. So these are the very important things we should think, and educational vision, values, and skills. These are all the very important issues we have to think. Definitely, UNESCO has also given a holistic approach to education is essential to address global developmental changes. So that is from the very college level and university level, the students have to think on the global level what ultimately their education, whatever they are learning, they have to use this thing for the development of the society and all those things. So this way, during this educational period, is not only the model of education, but aims to challenge the fragmented and reductionist assumptions of mainstream culture and education. So this is what usually we can think of. Holistic education seeks a balance in individual with the group, educational content in the process, knowledge and imagination. So once again, we can think about whatever the education they are getting as a whole person is defined as a education that harmoniously integrates the intellectual, emotional, physical, social, aesthetic, and spiritual aspects of individual learning. So this way, holistic education aims to educate the whole person by nurturing human potential, talents, and individual uniqueness. So these are the, sometimes we can think of any education, who are the stakeholders?
Dr. Ajay Raoji, we have a limitation of time also, so we can come back to you in the next round.
Finally, I think I would say that the stakeholders of any educational institution is the students, parents, teachers, and general public. This make the individual person to become as a good citizen and work for the SDGs. Thank you very much.
Nice. Thank you so much. That's a very valid point for sure. You're emphasizing upon the holistic part of education. The complete scenario is what you are being focusing upon, particularly regarding the students' awareness, how they are taking this content, all these things you have explained very nicely, and what we are going to do in your university also, exemplified very nicely. Thank you. We will come back to you with the next question in the next round. Thank you. We will go to the next panelist. So, Mr. Shivang Tandin, I move over to you with the same question. So we speak about this education as having the focus of consciousness development of mankind. What do you think? Do we have to go in that line, like right understanding, then relationship and physical facility? What's your take on this? Yeah. Mr. Shivang Tandin, am I audible to you?
Yeah, oh, yes, you're audible. Am I audible?
Now you're audible. Please go ahead. Please go
I'm
ahead.
audible.
Now we can
okay.
listen.
I'd like to wish you all a very good afternoon. Here in Thimphu, Bhutan, it's rather a cold afternoon. It's snowing up on the mountains. And I believe the situation is different for you all there in the plains. This is a pleasure for me to be participating in this. And something like universal human values is very, very close to my heart. And as a president here, I facilitate well-being for the community in the college, for everybody. And being a president, my outreach in the college is good. And I fully agree with what has been presented here in terms of the vision by Mr. Mahesh. I fully agree that it all starts with right understanding, which goes on to building relationships, then understanding of the physical facilities, so people don't crave for more. What they need is what they actually require to survive. And understanding of all this creates harmony. And I'm also very happy to note that there is an emphasis on the individual. It all starts with the individual. That's fantastic. And on the overall vision, may I propose that it has to be a vision for a world peace. If all this that has been explained here is achieved, I think we will have a better world. And today is the time where we really need a world peace with all the chaos happening, wars happening all in the Middle East, in the Ukraine, and a lot of things happening in the US recently. So this is a good time. And I would like to emphasize it all starts with the individual. Exactly. I fully agree with that. So the issue is, how do we teach this to our young students? what is the most efficient way of teaching this? Because you also, Mr. Mahesh also used transformation. How do we transform the young people that are with us? So transformation is the key. And today, I would like to draw from the neuroplasticity. The science has caught up with what we have been striving for many, many years. And neuroplasticity, this is a fantastic concept because it has a implication on how we teach behaviors and right thinking for people, including old people, because neuroplasticity says that your brain growth, there is no age bar. It will keep on growing. And it also says our experience shapes our brain, which means what we do, think, or pay attention to shapes the structure and function of our brain. So with that background, we can be very, very deliberate in how we transform our brain and how we transform the brains of people that we have an impact. For example, it's all about creating habits. How can we create good habits? It's possible because our brain is in a very, very fluid state. So in our vision, maybe we can also think about teaching strategy. How can we be more efficient at transforming the brain of the people that we can influence? So we can focus on that, I think, in our vision. The best way, a good way of transforming individuals, because in the academic institutions, we have so much emphasis on the declarative mode, which is just giving them concepts, knowledge, and everything, which is good. They'll know, but in few months or years' time, it's all forgotten. But if we have a procedural method of teaching, it's about practice. We get the people to actually practice what we are intending to do, and that will have a much better growth on their brains. Thank you. I think my time is up. I stop here.
Yeah, that's right. When I listened to you is very, very enriching for sure. But at the same time, we have to look at the time also.
Yep.
They were both well taken. So
Yep.
you have emphasis upon
Thank
this
you.
equal development. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you have focused upon this development of the brain. That's what you said. The brain has no age bar. You mentioned that also. We will come back here for sure. And now my request to all the panelists is that we have a time limitation. So in the first round, I request all of you to take not more than 3 minutes. So whenever the buzzer is there, please, by that time, let us try to finish that so that everyone is getting a fair chance of sharing their views. Now, before I proceed to the next panelist, I would also like to introduce Dr. Niranjan Singh Rathe. He joined in between, so I welcome Dr. Niranjan Singh Rathe to this panel discussion. He is the Dean of Faculty of Science, a Dean Research Professor, Jagannath University, Badurgah, NCR campus, India, Bahadurgah. He is a PhD, HNB, Garhwal University, MSc in Chemistry. He has a lot of patents, published many research papers nationally, internationally, involved in University of Human Values in the university. So welcome Dr. Niranjan Singh Rathe to this meeting, to this panel discussion. Niranjan Singh Rathe. Yeah. I will come back to you, Dr. Niranjan. So before that, I move on to Dr. Vikas K. Jambulkar. So let me ask the same question, and I append one more question to that. So we have been discussing regarding this consciousness development of human being. Now, as it is proposed, we have to have this right understanding, then relationship, and then physical facility. So in addition to you tell about your views regarding this, you can also emphasize upon, I can also tell regarding the research and development. So now many universities are emphasizing upon this research and development. So do you think if we emphasize upon this value-based education, the institutions will not be able to program in this direction in the research? What do you think? So there are two questions for you. Dr. Vikas, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Sir. I have been listening to all the panelists, and there have been wonderful contributions of various aspects. In terms of consciousness, I will directly come to the point and ask the question right back. What kind of a consciousness are we really creating about? Right. So you have to contextualize even consciousness. So there can be a consciousness to be a master, and there can be a consciousness to be a slave. These are always there. Somebody teaches you how to be a master, and somebody teaches you how to be a slave. So what kind of a consciousness is an education system creating is one of the most important and essential questions, where I think the second point, when you say that right kind of an understanding of our society, of our polity, of our economy, of our cultural values, these need to be taken into consideration as contexts within which we work our own consciousness. Consciousness cannot hang in a vacuum. We cannot find out consciousness in a vacuum, social vacuum. You have to always locate consciousness in a society, in the cultural context in which you are working, and how those cultures are affecting you, and how they are actually, where are you placed within that. And therefore, the very idea that you get aware about things within the society and your place within the society brings that consciousness to you, and whether this education is able to do it or not is a fundamental question that we should be asking. So in terms of gender equality, it is the idea of patriarchy that should be understood. If it is in the context of Indian society, we need to understand the caste system. If it is in the context of a class, we need to understand the economic system and how an exploitative economic order is created within the society. If it is all about culture, then we need to understand who imposes one's culture upon whom, and how a cultural domination is created within the society. If this consciousness is not gained, then therefore, I think then the very purpose of education is lost, right? And the very idea of research and development is about making people aware about their position in the society, to understand the mechanisms of exploitation, and to figure out how liberation can be sought. That is what my 2 words are. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vikas, for that sharing. So we emphasize upon one thing, that is consciousness is to be a master and a slave. That is a key thing which you shared. And you have explained upon that with the examples. And finally, you said the research is good, it is required in that sense. Now, I'll come back to you later. So let us move on to the next panelist, Dr. Pushpendra Valia. Dr. Pushpendra Valia, I would like to ask you the same question. So when the universities are focusing upon this research and development, so much of research and development, and when we propose that value education is required in this curriculum, will the universities be able to continue in this direction of What do you think?
Good afternoon, everybody.
Yeah.
I hope I'm audible.
Yeah, you're audible. Please go ahead.
So I think the very idea of holistic education, if I talk about it from my experience, I would say actually the qualities that we talk of, which form the consciousness, that's what we are saying, that we have to create a consciousness among the students. Those qualities come rather from experiential learning, rather than, I would say, just from making some statements in the classroom. And I would just like to, bring here to the fore the DAV manifesto. I belong to the DAV organization, and I have seen that, when the first DAV school was established, I've seen the manifesto that was made, and there's something in it which connects directly to this conference. It said that education in which the society does not change is of no meaning. Like if an individual is educated but is unable to change the society around him, the world around him for the better, does not have any meaning or relevance. So taking this in mind, my personal feeling and experience has also been this, that community outreach programs are very, very helpful in creating this kind of consciousness and taking this purpose of holistic education forward. For example, if I have to take just a couple of minutes on this, how we have managed to, or trying to, it's a constant endeavor. One never reaches a state of finality. It's always a growth process. So what we have tried to do is to inculcate these qualities and values of empathy, values of strong sense of morality and social responsibility among students. A lot of it is connected to a strong ethical core. And we are a women's college. And when I joined here as principal, my whole endeavor was to make these platforms very strong. Platforms which we already have, like NSS and NCC. We are doing social service and inculcating a sense of responsibility, but we wanted to do it on a larger scale, on a more realistic scale. So just as an example, if I continue to say that we need to have empathy, it may not have that kind of an impact. But what we did was, the first thing that we did was we sent our girl students to an old age home to interact with the inmates over there. And when the students came back after that interaction, what they told me was that we have learned what old parents, when they are abandoned, go through. And today we have made a pledge that it will never happen, neither in our family nor in the family we get married. So that kind of a learning is something that I would say would really have a meaning. So community outreach programs, in my experience, accomplish a lot. And another thing I would just like to say is that the spirit of the youth is very enthusiastic, and whatever direction we give it has a very strong foundation for the future. And since we are also imparting Vedic education, we make it a strong Vedic core by performing a daily havan, and not just performing the ritual, but giving the meaning of the Vedic mantras and making it the core of their being to spread that message. And on a contemporary note, I would say that we have adopted 5 villages, in which, this is just an example, I'm taking a case study of my college, that we have adopted these 5 villages where students go, and whatever the current challenges are. For example, when demonetization happened, our students went to these villages and taught them about this concept and how to do cashless transactions. So, I mean, all these challenges that come up in society as it is moving towards a progressive future, students become an integral part of it. And holistic education, to my mind, would be this, that they're not even only getting their degrees, but also moving on in society, very conscious of the world around them, very, very aware of people and children who are less privileged than them, and making a concrete difference in the lives around them. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Pushpendra Bali. Your message is well taken. So community education is what you have focused upon, and through which the values can be inculcated. Very nice. So we'll come back to you later. Now let me move on to Dr. Nilanjan Singh Nirathi. Welcome to this discussion for the first time. So we have been discussing regarding this the research and innovation. Now we have seen that the vision of value education. Now when we focus upon this value education, will the universities and institutions will be able to move ahead in the direction of research and innovation in line with value education? What do you think? Dr. Niranjan Singh, your mic is muted. Are you able to hear me, Dr. Niranjan? I can see still the mic is muted. Okay.
Okay, sir. Now.
Yes, now it is unmuted. Okay.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Sir,
please go ahead. Please go.
Yes. Actually, sir, in my opinion, this universal human value should be in research and innovation. We have Department of Education in our university, and we are focusing on research on human values, and we have inculcate and a course also based on universal human values. So research and innovation is very important in this topic. What I think when we go to our old peoples, our grandmothers, grandfathers, they have some values, universal values. And nowadays, children are not interacting with them, what I feel. So they should interact with their grandparents. Grandparents can give them uh, lots of human values, lots of knowledge about the values. What I see in higher education institutions, students don't know how to talk to the teachers, how to talk with their elders and seniors. But such type of requirement is there to inculcate the universal human values to the students. So, in my opinion, we are also including the research in universal human values, and higher education institutes should do that. So, this is my opinion. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. So it is nice to listen to you that in your university, you are taking up this research and innovation upon human values. That's a very heartening to listen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So now we move on to Dr. Kumar Sambhav. Dr. Kumar Sambhav has been in value education for quite a long time. So we can listen from Kumar Sambhav regarding his views upon the priority of right understanding, relationship and physical facility in as the vision for value education as a priority for fulfilling living, as well as regarding the research and innovation. What is their role in this value education? Dr. Kumar Sambhav, over to you.
So, of course, this has been shared in the keynote lectures also, and this has been supported by other panelists also. So, education is essentially meant for consciousness development of the students, and going further, consciousness development of the mankind. So, we are able to see that literacy is spreading, but at the same time, society. So that's why education cannot be just equivalent to literacy. We have to do certain things in the education so that the students are able to develop the right understanding, fulfill relationship with their family members, with the rest of the society, and they are also able to fulfill the needs of physical facility with the correct priority. So this is one thing. Just a minute. Now regarding the research part, yes, research is required, innovation is required, but research and innovation direction. So the vision for research, the goal for research is decided by the right understanding and right feeling. So when I'm going to conduct some research on material things, I have to really make out what would be the right utilization. One thing I would like to mention that already so much of research has been conducted, isn't it? And we have to see how education can ensure right utilization of this development that has taken so far. Because we have enough equipments, right? We have enough gadgets. Now, the society is entering into new kinds of problems because of the misuse of these gadgets and equipments and the facilities that are available now. So one major research that has to be conducted now is how to make the right utilization of the facilities available. And here I think value education can play a very significant role. If you talk about innovation or design or research, so essentially we have to see how we can design a happy and prosperous society. That would be a major innovation for the society, because we are able to see that society is entering into a stage where it is not going to be amenable to a happy life. So many wars taking place, so much of destruction taking place. So even if we are going to conduct a research, we have to conduct research for a happy and prosperous society. And for that, happiness has to be understood, prosperity has to be understood, the meaning of life has to be understood, relationship has to be understood. So essentially, the research and innovation is also intended at consciousness development. So two things: one, consciousness development is required. Second thing, the research and development is also intended at consciousness development, and the right utilization of the research that has taken place so far has to be ensured. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Kumar Sambhav. Nicely said. So research and development is also essential, but focusing upon the based on right understanding. Yeah, that's a nice point. We will discuss regarding that in detail. Now, in this next round of discussion, we have a very limited time. So I request all the panelists to limit your sharing within 2 minutes. So I wish if we can reach all the panelists in the next round. So now we have been discussing regarding the vision for value education. So this has been exemplified by many of the panelists. And then regarding the research and innovation part, this also has been discussed in detail. Now I move on to the next question to the panelist. I start with Professor Nim Kumar Jain. So we have proposed this 6 graduate attributes in the UHV point of view sharing in the recap in this particular panel discussion. So the 6 graduate attributes, which may be the program outcomes in the education, that is what is proposed. But how do you see the validity of the graduate attributes in the curriculum of education right now?
Yes, sir. There are the essential parameters of value education, both ancient as well as modern. In the modern, the change from the ancient to the modern is that we go into the micro studies of that. And since these values have withstand the time, so now it is high time that we attach these values and psychologies to the curriculum. And fortunately, National Education Policy has come into it, and the UGC has formed broad guidelines towards knowledge system, Indian knowledge system, and dharma. So, and we are progressing university by university and institution wise to frame syllabus and small courses, add-on courses. Now it is further situation has come from the add-on courses and from the qualifying courses. They should be made the courses regarding the human values and dharma should be made as a part of the essential syllabus. That would be the next stage to come on.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. So you said that it is high time that the value education and this has to be included in the curriculum. Particularly in the add-on courses, you can add that, like Dharma course can be added in the value education in the as an add-on course. We can also add this in the curriculum as a core program. What do you think? Can we add this in the curriculum as core programs?
Sure, that is most essential. Otherwise, the add-on courses or qualifying courses doesn't add seriousness to the student. So when it becomes a part of the assessment, then they are imbibed, and we teachers are also compelled to think in greater details to produce high results.
Thank you. So we move on to Dr. R.J. Rao with this same question. That is, we propose these 6 graduate attributes towards the end of the discussion, early part of this session. So what do you think? How do you see the validity of this in the curriculum?
Can we hear you once again, please?
Yeah, we propose the 6 graduate attributes in the UHV point of view. Remember that. How do we validate this in the curriculum? That's the question.
Yeah, in fact, actually, we need to some people who can think about the exact usefulness of this type of courses which can provide for the students. And we will have some holistic approach of courses, designing of the course. And in addition to the regular courses, I think they can go for the other courses like what Kumar Jain was talking about. We have to have a more add-on courses, so which will help them to think the other. I mean, they have to have a more idea what exactly is the society needs are there. So we can give some type of small courses and small programs and research activities also we can which can help them to have a holistic idea about what is required after the completion of their studies. So how they can contribute for the development of that thing. This way we can have more number of courses which can be available for them, and that can be done. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul, sir. So number of courses can be added, as you said. So we will see the feasibility of that in the curriculum. How many courses can be added as core courses? How many can be added as add-on courses, as electives? So many universities are working upon this. Very nice. So I move on to the next panelist, Mr. Shabang Tandin. So I put this question towards you also. So the 6 graduate attributes like holistic vision of life, social responsibility, environmental responsibility, we put forward that towards the end of the discussion, in the PhD point of view discussion. So what do you think? How do we validate this in the curriculum?
Yeah, I have no problem with the 6 attributes, but my point is, I think we have to prepare a fertile ground for the individuals to keep on continue to learn, because if we just give them information and knowledge, as I said earlier, it just stays for a while or for a couple of years, but preparing young people so that they can absorb things. I think the foundation here, based on neuroscience, is mindfulness, being aware of the changes in yourself, in the environment, in other people. So teaching, getting people to practice self-awareness. And I think the foundation there is meditation. This is an ancient practice in Hinduism, but today they found the merits and science is backing it up. So I think that will be the foundation. Get people to practice, give them the skills of meditation, and the rest of the things will follow. Thank you.
Thank you. That's very nice. So preparing the students, that is a focus in your sharing just now. Thank you so much for that. Now we move on to Professor Satyanarayan Reddy. So Professor, so we have proposed this 6 graduate attributes. You can please tell me regarding the take on this. How do we validate these graduate attributes in the curriculum? That's one thing. And you can also respond to this question. Now, the formal education has to be a pillar for human society. How do you see this as a goal of education? So 2 questions for you. One is regarding the validation of this 6 graduate attributes. And second is regarding the formal education has to be the pillar of society, human society. And how do you see this as a goal of education? 2 questions for you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you come to the second part, sir? I loved hearing all the esteemed speakers. The second part, what you have said.
The second part
first is graduate attributes.
First is that one. Second is the formal education has to be a pillar for human society. That's what we say.
You said power education.
How do you see this as a goal of the formal education, say school education.
Formal education.
Formal education.
Yes.
Has to be a pillar for human society. How do you see this as a goal of education?
See, those 6 graduate attributes definitely help a human being in their holistic, what I mean to say, development and growth. My take on the second part is that, besides having everything, people should be, critical. I mean to say they should be involved in critical thinking, problem solving. They should have good ethics, social responsibility. And to top it all, they should be very, very adaptable to all kind of changes that are taking place in the society around the world, right? And they should always have, like Dr. Pushpinder was telling, that people should be aware about, their surroundings. I should rather add to her, this thing, that global awareness. So formal education basically will be always about global awareness, and once that awareness comes, they should adapt to such what I meant to say, global awareness, and they start thinking that how exactly things can be made better for the people. And these 6 graduate attributes are there, but likely process down the line, based on the situations, we may need certain other attributes also. So as Dr. Shevang was telling, that there should always be lifelong learning kind of thing. And I agree with his take on meditation, because this meditation helps in calming the mind of a person, and that helps in adapting oneself to a new situation, learning fast, and after learning fast, they act on the situations that are there to be handled. So this is my take on formal education, this thing, sir. It can be included always. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to interact with all the esteemed panel members.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Your words are very much helpful, I think. So you focused upon the formal education is very essential. In fact, we require lifelong learning. That's what you said. So starting with the formal education, you can go along till lifelong. That's what you stressed upon. Nice. So we move on to Dr. Vikas K. Jambulkar. I repeat this question to Dr. Vikas also, that the formal education has to be a pillar for humane society. That's what we proposed. How do you see this as a goal of education?
Right. Thank you very much once again. So I'll be responding on the graduate attributes as well as this formal education, because I have not responded on that. So particularly when we talk about bringing in values in terms of graduate attributes, I guess what we need to take care is that what kind of values are we really promoting through the formal education system, right? And when we are talking about promoting values through the formal education system, then we need to be very careful that those values are secular values, that these are not lopsided values. These are not from a very specific groups imposed upon somebody else, right? And therefore they have to be very secular values. And if there is any urge to learn more, then I guess we need to introduce and we can introduce comparative value systems as important program to be taken for those who would like to go more into specific value systems which are promoted by various and different cultural from a very different cultural perspectives, right? So this is what I think are important, and therefore what I suggest is that we need to promote the constitutional values that we have entrenched in India. The Constitution of India provides us those value structures through which we can operate our personal as well as public life. And therefore, those value system needs to be incorporated into our education system and need to be promoted through that education system. And all those value structures, particularly which are lopsided, which contradict the constitutional value structures, should be discarded, because they put in peril our public life. They put in peril our social life as well, right? And they contradict the kind of the value structure that we have created to conduct our public life. As far as the formal education and lifelong, I agree with the earlier speaker on lifelong education, because the kind of changes and the technological changes that are taking place are enormous. We are into a very fast pace now. The earlier changes that used to take during the machine age were still considerably fast, but then in an information age, we are very exponentially going very fast, and therefore we need to develop core, very core important elements into our education system, which the earlier speaker also said, and that is one, critical thinking is, I guess, one of the most important and cardinal principle. Second, we need to be able to develop communications. Now, this is again a very crucial aspect because we lack in communication, particularly because there are barriers to communication. And what are these barriers to communication? The barriers to communication are not about language. The barriers to communication are about cultures, right? These are the barriers to communication that we need to patch up. Third, we need to be able to collaborate. It is always a collaborative exercise. It is never an individual exercise. If we need to really function in a society, then we need to collaborate with the society. And we cannot be lopsided in this, that I will only collaborate with this and I will only collaborate with that. That is not how a society is going to work in the coming days, right? And last, we need to be extremely creative about what we are doing. And we need to be thinking out of the box. So these are the 4 cardinal things I feel are very, very important to include in the graduate attributes and in a lifelong learning exercise. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Vikas. So the very important thing, as you proposed, are the critical thinking, the communication part, the collaboration with every group, I would say, and creativity. So these 4 things you emphasize, very nice. We will take it along for sure. Now, I come to the next panelist, Dr. Pushpinder Valiaji. I asked this question to Dr. Pushpinder also regarding the formal education. The formal education has to be a pillar for humane society that we proposed. So how do you see this as a goal of education?
Well,
you can connect this with the also.
Yeah. So, I mean, I have really enjoyed being a part of this conference and listening to all the panelists. And just now, as Dr. Reddy was saying and Dr. Vikas were saying, it is so very important. I mean, everybody, I think, agrees on this, that education is definitely going to act and should act as a pillar of society. I remember when we were children in school, we used to have a paper called moral science. And that was something which, as kids, shaped us a lot. We did not realize we were building those reflexes as habits within us, telling us to discriminate between right and wrong and what are the better ways to behave in a society. I think the idea of being sensitive, that, you know, to sensitize the students and the individual citizens that other people also have rights and they need to have their space, and whatever you do should be in consonance with the benefit or with the, you know, positive space of other people. So I think that idea of considering others before you just consider what you are to do, that is very important. And my take on this is that this can happen in formal education only when we put up some papers like we have environment education and we have you know, papers on drug awareness as mandatory. I think if the universities were to make papers on moral science or papers on this ethical development of personality as human values as mandatory papers, I think from there that they would be taken seriously. And as a part of the curriculum, I'm sure that because what I have seen among students is that they just need to be prodded a little. Yeah, you know, if you touch upon these topics in the classroom or if you make them a part of your social responsibility initiatives, students respond very fast. So if these were to be part of the curriculum, I would say that we would definitely be having you know, students who are passing out as very responsible future citizens, sensitive to the needs of the others. And I agree with Dr. Reddy when he said that, you know, global awareness is to be there. So I think it's like think local and act global. That kind of a thing would come up in our social initiatives. I definitely think that would be a good idea. Thank you.
Thank you. Nice sharing, I would say, Dr. Pushpinder. So focus, others have also to be given a space. That's what you said in the beginning. In consonance with whatever we discuss, whatever we do, has to be in consonance with others. So when this human value education is part of the curriculum, then we can produce responsible citizens. Yeah, nice. Thank you. I move on to Dr. Kumar Sambhav. Dr. Kumar Sambhav, what is your take on this? We say that this formal education has to be a pillar for human society. So how do you see this as a goal of education?
Certainly. I see
Yeah.
that it is only human being who goes through education for 1/3 to 1/4 of lifetime. And there's a particular purpose behind this. The basic aspiration of every human being is to lead a happy and prosperous life, and that too in continuity. And we need a society of happy and prosperous people, isn't it? So today in the keynote session also it was shared that we need to understand the common human goal while living in a society. Living in a society, we have a common goal, which is happiness in every human being, health of every human being, prosperity in every family, fearlessness, that is trust, ensuring justice in the society, coexistence in the nature. And we have to take this responsibility. If the students, or let's say the children, are not getting this kind of input from the family, from the surround, then the onus has to be taken by the education system. And it is the education system only which shapes the human being of tomorrow, who are going to be the policy makers, who are going to be the teachers, who are going to be the parents, who are going to be the workers in the factory, everywhere. So it is a process basically which is the building tool for the society. Every child is going through education, and this is a common passage for all. And if we rectify this passage, when we give the right vision, right mission, right program, right objective to this process, then certainly we'll have a better society to live in. We can also see that with lack of proper vision in education, we are facing global challenges. People are even questioning whether this earth is going to be livable one generation hence. The current generation is questioning the older generation that who gave us the authority to ruin the planet to such an extent that this is not livable. So now we can see the pathetic state of the society, and we have to take up the responsibility now. A good thing about the current century is that almost every child is going to education. So if we are able to implement this rightly from primary to higher education, if every child gets the opportunity to self-explore, to look into the basic aspiration, to get to see what one wants to really be, isn't it? Then certainly the conduct is going to be modified. Education is basically meant to ensure that human being has a definite conduct, a conduct which is mutually fulfilling in relationships with human being as well as the rest of nature. The person needs to have the source of happiness inside in place of trying to borrow happiness from outside through sensation, through sensual pleasures, or by show off or certain things so that others can pay attention to me. So these are basic challenges. When you go to fulfill the sustainable development goals also, we can see that unless the right understanding and the right feeling is ensured in the individual, we are not going to have those goals getting fulfilled in the society. So of course, education is the base on which a human society is built. And if we start working on education, and that is something which is being done also to some extent, but we have to extend it to all the countries of the world. And that is what the conference is meant for. So I perfectly agree with this, that yes, it has to shape the society of the future, and it has to be the building block for the generations to come so that they are able to lead a happy and prosperous life.
As covered by Dr. Kumar Sambhav, the students of today are tomorrow's policy makers. And if you ensure this, and every child in this current era, they have an opportunity to go to education. So when this is there, why can't we introduce this value education so that they can also go to a fulfilling life? So this is the proposal by Dr. Kumar Sambhav. We can take on this. Now we have a limitation of time. So before we move on to the panelists again, if any of the delegates has a question, we can pose that. If anybody is having a question, we can raise our hand. The mic will be passed to you, and you can ask to any delegate. You can ask to any panelist.
Dr. Sunil, I can see that there are already 2 questions in the Q&A column.
Oh, I see. Okay, we will take up those questions. Yeah, right. Yeah, so there is a question in the... there is one question is like, how do different cultural and historical contexts shape the relationship between family and society? I repeat, how do different cultural and historical contexts shape the relationship between family and society? This is open to any panelist, so anybody can respond to the question.
So let me respond to this briefly, then other panelists can take up. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, the cultural and historical context do shape the relationship between family and society, but the context may not be based on right understanding and right feeling. So it becomes conditional then. we get conditioned according to our history, according to the society, according to the culture, according to the civilization. And then it may be the case that the context is not really ensuring the human society, a society where every human being is happy and prosperous, where we are able to ensure mutually fulfilling relationship with the human being or the rest of nature. So it does influence, but given the scenario, we have to make out the correct plan how to go ahead fulfilling the human goal. So I'll say that yes, it does, but then we have to take the corrective measures. As it was being discussed yesterday, that we can have measures of problem-centric and solution-centric solution approach, but solution-centric solution approach, isn't it? That part has to be solution-centric solution effort. That part has to be looked into, and then the influence will come down. Now we'll have a common vision, happy and prosperous society to live in, and will not have differentiation across different sections of society, because the context varies from place to place, time to time. And if the society is dependent on the context, then it is not going to be universal human order. So what we are talking about is universal human order. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, Dr. Kumar, for that sharing. Yeah, I think Professor Nem Kumar wants to share something. Over to you.
Yes, sir. Our family system from the time immemorial has been so strong that we have been teaching, learning process going on in each family. And the world is now feeling envy with our family system. Not only that, we make our own family system so nice. We regard the whole world as a family, Vasudeva Kutumbakam. And now the people are just wonderful looking at Indian way of life so far, and they are trying to adopt. Now, they are not even able to save their own individual family, and we consider the whole society and the whole world as a family.
Can I?
Nice. The world family, that is the point which is shared by Professor Nem Kumar Jain. Yeah, we can hold on to that and we can work for that. Anybody else would like to share?
Yeah, I can pitch in. Yeah.
So could I or somebody?
Yeah, who is that? Dr. Pushpinder Valia?
Yeah.
Please.
Now, this is a very interesting question, actually, because India in itself has so many different kinds of social and cultural contexts. And if I was to say one thing, I would say that in our value system, we must develop two things. One is tolerance. Second is understanding. When we are embedded in a particular cultural context, for example, in the North, we have certain cultural paradigms where we think that this is the world. This is how everybody eats. This is how everybody behaves in a particular society. This is how the societies are all. This is what we think. Now, when you travel or when you come across people of different cultures, I think I would love it that all the young people of today should understand that what they see in one part of the world may not be so in the other parts of your own country as well as in other parts of the world, but it does not mean that what we are living through is right and what the others are living through is wrong. So I think the idea of tolerance and understanding across different cultures is also one of the basic universal human values that needs to be inculcated. And secondly, there is one basic goal for every human life. I think every human being does everything towards this one goal, and that is happiness. And that is and happiness is within us and around us. So I think that is different cultural contexts would lead to this one basic understanding. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So I go with your word. Happiness is within us and around us. So first of all, it is within us, that then we can see it around. Nice. So the cultural.
I'm just.
I will come back to Dr. Nem Kumar Jain before that. Listen from Mr.
Yeah,
also.
I'm just tempted to join Dr. Pushpinder about happiness, because this is something very, very close to my heart. And one thing from neuroscience right now is that happiness is a skill. And if something is a skill, the more you practice, the better you can get at it. So again, it starts with the transformation of the individual. It has to start from there, and that is the foundation. And if the individual has the peace in his or her mind, individual is has a self-love and compassion, then it's easier for this individual to pass this on to others. And also a feeling of common humanity, thinking that we are all same. This other person's needs and wants are just like mine. Therefore, I can then give this person so much love and compassion. And the last thing I want to add is creating mental habits. This is based on neuroplasticity. For example, if every day when I meet a person, I wish for this person to be happy. I wish for this person to be well. If every morning I deliberately do this, then it creates a wiring in my brain. After weeks or months, the moment I see somebody, the feeling will just naturally, automatically occur in my brain because I have made a mental habit there. So again, with the young people, if we work on this, teaching this based on neuroscience, I think it will be much, much easier because intention is there for all of us to spread this and the vision here, I think, is world peace and sustainable world. So the way to do that, to be more effective, will be to work with the science. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Sir, can I take opportunity to speak?
Two
Just
sentences.
one.
Yeah, we can have quick reflection from Satyanarayan Reddy, and then I will come
Yeah.
to Madin. Yeah.
Yeah, sir, my take on this cultural and historical context is you must have seen the cultural things, arts and crafts that were there. I feel that learning the traditional arts basically stimulates creativity and fine motor skills. Basically, it teaches you how to coordinate with others also when you are in kind of say music, dance, and all. So this kind of cultural activity which is there, it tries to tell with other people how to coordinate, how to get in synchronization with them, and act accordingly. Then we have, as a child, I have heard lot of storytellers and folklore songs were there, which always try to inculcate certain values through religious, means and education. So I feel that when we integrate all these things, that literally and history, we have seen many wars were fought. Somebody has, won, somebody has lost, and somebody after losing again they have won. So this teaches the people how to be resilient, how to come back to your own self. And these cultural activities, I have felt that it basically enhances the family and community engagement. It gives multicultural exposure to the people. So this is my take on this particular question. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, Professor Nemkumar Jain, sir.
One of the important question raised by Dr. Pushpendra Kalia was because of the differentiation in our Indian society across the geographical and cultural aspects. We are already handling differences in our own family, society, and the country at large. So we are expert, worldwide expert in handling differences. विभिन्नता में एकता, ये हमारा जीवन का एक how to live with differentiation is our way of life. So only thing is we have to further improve upon this.
Thank you so much. So now there are many questions and many responses are maybe expected, but with the time limitation, we have to stop this discussion here. But it was a very interesting discussion, I would say. Very interesting discussion. So before we close, I can read those questions and we can frame our responses also into that. Couple of questions are there in the question answer that chat box. One is how can societal systems to be designed through value education to promote both individual well-being and common good. So I request the person who sent the question to listen to the keynote lecture today, the second keynote lecture today by Sri Umesh Jadhav. So it has thrown some light upon this particular question. How can we participate in the societal systems to ensure this, to fulfill the human goal part? Another question is, born and brought up environment individual has got much role to play imbibing human values. Please throw some light upon this. So I think the discussion which we had just now was upon this part, was upon the cultural difference part and how this expression part has to be taken. The value within is to be ensured within, but the expression part may be different at different parts of the country, different parts of the world also. So this can answer the question to some extent, but with a time limitation. I thank all the panelists. So it is a very rich panel and a very rich panel discussion for sure. I thank Dr. Niranjan Singh Rathe. I thank Professor Nem Kumar Jain. Thank Dr. R.J. Rao, Mr. Shevang Tandin, Dr. Vikas K. Jambulkar, Professor Satyanarayan Reddy, Dr. Pushpinder Walia, and Dr. Kumar Sambhav for your enriching discussions. So we couldn't take much questions from the delegates because of this time limitation. I thank the UHB team also who presented the UHB point of view, Mr. Mahesh S. Kore. Thank you for that. And the anchor, I thank Amaresh S. Patil also for your anchoring part. Now, we have discussed upon this vision part of holistic human education today. Now, in the vision part, the education has to focus upon the consciousness part. We have discussion upon that. We have discussion upon the research and development part. We have discussion upon the 6 graduate attributes part. And we discussed upon the formal education has to be pillar for human society. So we discussed upon that also. We would have discussed upon many other things, but at least we can have within the limited time, we can have discussion upon these things. So we have thrown light up to many of the things. So finally, in the final day, we are going to have a conclusion and the recommendations of this panel discussion also on the final day. So you can listen to that too. So with this, I thank once again all the panelists and I hand over the panel discussion to the anchor for the announcements. Amaresh Patil, do we have some announcements to conclude?
Thanks, yeah. I thank one and all for their active participation in the panel discussion, which was going on. And I request everyone to rejoin for the second shift if at all they are there in the international scenario. Thank you for once again. Thanks from all the Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you. Thoroughly enjoyed.